Get into the car.
You say waiting.
Get into the car.
Carry the priest. I no go try am mama. For waiting. What I wan use am do?
That reminds me, Papa. Wetin you give Papa Chisom when make her dey talk say if not that your father.
So guys, if you're actually looking for the update on when the season 3 and 4 is going to be dropping, you're at the right place. Kindly watch the video to the end to know when it's going to drop. But before then, let's actually take a deep dive on what's really happening. So this happens to actually be the story of CHIKAIMA, right? She happens to actually be a graduate of probably accountancy, and she happens to, have the opportunity to work in a bank, but she didn't actually work in the bank because she felt that most bankers and people, bank managers, try as much to actually have their way with them and all that really happens with people working in the bank. So she actually went to keep her dignity, and she decided to go for the roadside business that happens to be the monetary type. Along the line, she started doing her business, but the type that take no nonsense from anybody and from everybody. And that actually extends to her brother, which happens to be Uchenna, right? Uchenna happens to be the type that's actually, always at home, eats every now and it does nothing. And she kind of just, doesn't like the fact that the brother lives such a lifestyle, and that actually, created a problem between them. And she happens to actually, met a guy that, has interest with which happens to be Obiora. Obiora is actually, probably from a royal family, but probably just seeking the love, and he just wants to see how far he could actually go with, people, and he happens to actually meet CHIKAIMA where she does her business, and he comes every now and then to come and see her, ask a couple of questions to know more about her. On the other hand is actually this prince that happens to be from the royal family. He lives the extravagant life that he collects money for whatever reasons, and he tries much to actually flex it on different people. He brings girls home, two at a time, three at a time, and the king is actually not really liking such a lifestyle because he happens to be, the heir to the throne, and they actually believe that someone that happens to be the heir to the throne shouldn't be living such a indecent life, and they actually feel that such a thing is going to actually bring a bad name. So the king is actually always telling his mom about everything, which happens to be the queen, but the queen happens to be in support of everything that the prince is doing. She feels that anything the prince does, he should actually do it because he's actually a prince and should actually enjoy himself. But at the end of the day, if things actually boomerang, there's possibility that the queen takes the blame, and the king doesn't want to actually spoil his name because he feels that that's the only person that is actually left to take after him, and he wants to actually leave the royal palace to someone that happens to be good enough to take over from him. You know, So Chikaima's brother, who happens to be Uchenna, has a girlfriend that seems to actually loves him, but the girlfriend that happens to actually be, a seer, someone like a priest that lives around, and there was one fateful day. Chikaima was actually walking, then she actually had this encounter with the priest. The priest told her that why are you not greeting me anytime I see you and all that, and she was like she didn't do this, she didn't do that, and that resulted to some kind of altercation that made the priest had argument with her. The priest decided to actually come to her house to actually tell her dad about the whole thing that Chikaima has actually offended him and is not going to actually take it lightly with her. Chikaima, on the other hand, but for the fact that she had issue with the brother had no choice than to actually escape to the girlfriend's place, which happens to be the daughter of this same man that happens to be the priest. And I believe that the priest is going to actually not take it lightly when he ends up seeing that the boyfriend of his own daughter happens to be the brother of Chikaima, who happens to be the girl that probably disrespected him when he was actually coming by the way. Now, let's go back to the prince issue. The lifestyle that the prince is actually living, the king tries much to, tell the third party, which happens to be the king's men, that, he doesn't actually like the life that this, son is actually living. And they try as much to, come in, but he is actually, the prince is just, not hearing anybody's advice. Same as the mom is actually supporting him for whatever reason. So I just want to know the reason why he's actually living such a life, because the king actually complained that he took his money, which happens to be up to 2,000, and he decided to actually spread it on the lifestyle that you actually saw. All the girls he was actually calling and he was actually giving them money and all that. Chikaima on the other hand happens to not really be interested in any relationship. It's just all about business, and she does her thing the way she does it, and I guess that's actually what made Obiora so much interested in her and all that. And for the fact that Obiora is always present close to her, she suggested one day that Obiora should try as much to look for a stand close to her and in a stand business close to her. Since when he actually loves visiting such place every now and then, but he actually said he's actually fine with everything, and he's not really going to do such a thing. So guys, at the end of the day, Obiora decided to actually start the business, and it happens to actually be a couple that's actually serving in the community, right? Now there's actually a problem to the whole situation. After everything, the queen happens to actually want the king away because she actually feels that the king is actually blocking the whole um enjoyment that the son needs to actually enjoy, and same as that. So that actually raises a question about is the prince actually the true son of the man or not? But we'll actually get to find out at the end of the day. At the same time, we'll actually get to find out if Oberyn happens to be the son of the king at the end of the day. So at the other end is actually how the prince and CHIKAIMA actually met. They actually met on the past way, and both of them actually had altercation because the prince actually felt that the whole way he is actually a prince, he could actually command her and take her anywhere he actually wants to. So he actually commanded his guards that they should actually take her and follow him. But for the fact that she's the second type, she doesn't want such a relationship with the prince, and she feels that she's actually the person herself and she can't be persuaded or or something of such to do whatever the prince wants. But let's see how it goes on, how maybe their friendship builds or not, and how she and Obiara's relationship actually ends up. And again, we'll get to know if the prince or the king rather happens to be the victim of the wife, and the child which happens to actually be the current prince. But anyhow, let's see how it goes on, how everything actually unfolds, because I just wish to know how Obiora identifies himself to later on, and how the story actually unfolds. So when it comes to the season 3 and 4, going to be dropping on Sunday, definitely. So bye guys, take care of yourself.